the perfect guy to go against a so-called monopoly, because that if you look at it, Omega and the Good Brothers are kind of like orchestrating like a conglomerate.
Yes.
This, hey, we're taking over and everything. And even look at what they're doing with the Bullet Club. They're like, yeah, we're Bullet Club. And Tama Tonga like, you ain't Bullet Club. How the hell are you gonna beat something that still exists? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? So I think Punk is the perfect guy with his gimmick, is the perfect guy to go against Omega. I mean, another guy, Nick Aldis, which would be dope if he goes against Omega. So, I mean, you have him. It's either him or CM Punk that's going to confront Omega after WrestleMania.
What do you think of that main event of Revolution? They're bringing this crazy match, exploding barbed wire death match. Have you seen this match before? I know Mick Foley, he's made that match famous. I've seen matches.
I don't know if you can see this.
What's up? Awesome.
You see this?
Yeah.
I've had this VHS for almost 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? It's smart because they're doing it on pay-per-view.
They're doing it on pay-per-view, right? Obviously.
So you have to pay to see. So it's not on TNT where it's like, oh my God, I don't want to see. Oh my God, what?
Right.
What is this?
It's probably gonna be one of those non-sanctioned matches too. Like AEW has no responsibility.
So
I mean,
it's
sort of
there's
but still.
Yeah.
The referee's
so
just there to make the pinfall. That's about it. Even that.
Yeah, it's a crazy match. If they do have FMW rules, I don't know if you're familiar with those rules that they had. So basically, the ropes are wrapped in barbed wire. There's like wooden planks with wood or nails or what have you around the ring. And at a certain time during the match, explosives go off. So they can be wrestling at the 3-minute mark, and then boom, whatever pyro or have you goes off.
I've seen that kind of match before. It's crazy.
And it's wild.
And I've been to a death match, which is like the contemporary death matches where they're just using those fiberglass rods and they're fucking each other up. I've been there live, and people were wearing face masks. This was 2019. They were wearing face masks so they wouldn't get the gas. I'm like, I told my buddy, what the fuck did you bring me to, man? This was Game Changer Wrestling, King of the Death Match, Big Gauge Invitational.
Yeah. So the FMW, if you check it up online, so they had one where they set the ropes on fire, and this wasn't a fire from like WWE, the Inferno match and stuff like this. No, this was like, when you see like somebody burn wood, like a large amount of wood, and that flames like that, like it's wide and it's like it's hot. That's how the flames were in that match. I seen another death match. It was a exploding piranha in a pool death match.
Wow.
And it was a little fish tank with piranhas in the middle of the ring. This was in Japan.
Wow.
I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, who thought of this? Like, what horror movie? Like, you must be a fan of Saw or something. Like, what is this? This is weird. But I mean, it's gonna get a lot of people talking.
Yeah.
That Revolution card, mind you, that's the main event. You still have Sting and Darby against Team Taz. You still have the ladder match. You have the Casino Tag Team match. You have the finals of the women's tournament. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think Revolution is like their WrestleMania. Like that card is always like really stacked. So I mean, that's gonna be a good pay-per-view.
It is.
It's gonna get people talking. I don't know who the surprise person is gonna be for the ladder match. Who do you think is gonna be? Because they haven't named it.
I don't know. I mean, isn't there two surprise? Or is there only one left?
I think it's okay.
Cody, Scorpio.
Archer's one. Archer's in there.
Yeah, Archer, Zero, Penta El Zero, Scorpio Sky, Cody Rhodes. So there's 2 more. That's what it
Okay,
said.
so it might be 2. So I mean, it could be Ethan Page because he hasn't been on Impact for a while. I mean, I would be surprised if it's Marty Scurll.
Or it could be Karate
I know
Man.
it was reported that he was at. Yeah. Oh my God.
The Karate.
You know what? It was corny at first, but that match he had against himself at Hard to Kill. Oh my God.
But do you
That
hear
is the
what he
most
said?
funniest thing I've ever seen.
He said he wanted to make the match more serious, and Impact kind of stifled his creativity. He didn't want the match to be a joke like that. He was actually upset that was his last match in Impact, and it didn't go the way he envisioned it.
Wow. Yeah, Ethan Page is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Marty Scurll, I'm kind of skeptical of because just reading the feedback of just him being mentioned at New Japan tapings, you're like, oh, he needs to be thrown out all of this. Like, it was very like, ooh, he's still like, yeah. I mean, and some of it's kind of rightly justified, but then at the same time, it's like, if someone pays their due penance,
yeah,
I think they should, give him a second chance. The allegations that were made against him and everything, he did, he was, like, hey, he had some context to it. He admitted to it. He owned up to it. It was totally different than what Havoc did from AEW. That was just like, yeah, bro, you kind of got to go.
I know.
Over there.
I know.
Because I mean, it could be Marty Scurll, Ethan Page. It could be Shawn Spears. You haven't seen him for a while.
Kenta?
Ooh.
That's what I'm thinking.
Ooh.
He's not on the card.
Ooh. Well, this Friday they have him and Moxley.
Yeah.
So that's damn. I didn't think that's a good one.
Yeah.
It could be him. Ooh, it could be Chris Bay.
Yeah. Really? Chris Bay is not with Impact anymore, huh? Or you saying?
Well, you remember, I don't know if you see.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be him. I would be surprised if it's Trey Miguel because he's feuding with Sami Callihan in Impact.
What would you do if out comes the Diamonds Are Forever? Tessa Blanchard is in the match. Fuck it.
You know what?
Could you imagine that?
That would be dope because I thought about it.
That's
I know a lot of people are like, oh, she's going to WWE. Yeah. No, but it would. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people back in January were like, oh, she's going to go to D and everything. And, she's going there. But here's the thing. She's coming off being a world champion, not a women's champion, the world champion, where she was fighting men. And they got a lot of press. That's what really got Impact back into, that relevancy. Any company that brings her in, you can't put her just in the women's division. Like, you have to bring her,
right?
Like, hey, she fought Brian Cage. Like, you can't just, she's going to fight,
World Impact World Champion, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of got to bring her up. So, I wouldn't be surprised if she...
Stay away from that, but yeah.
But, I mean, it's a pay-per-view. I mean, it's the pay-per-view that they're having a death match on.
Yes.
So is really anything off the table?
Right. That's what I know. It's far-fetched. Obviously she's had issues with Impact, and that stemmed from Impact, and I think that's followed her. Unfortunately, what she did with the world title and everything, that whole drama, and now that AEW and Impact are together. The way it would work is that if she's back in Impact, she can go to AEW. Like if Impact accepts her back, then Impact doesn't. Then AEW doesn't have accepting her back. But we would have to be under those conditions that both promotions would accept her back. Yeah. She really burnt her bridge with Impact. So it's a wild card. Like it's out there, But
yeah, what I've seen online regarding Tessa Blanchard is like it's realistically, it's almost like she's like 50% in as far as going to AEW. It's like they're split on bringing her in because of what happened with the world title. And basically, a lot of people know what happened to the world title. She wanted the same pay as a man.
Yeah.
That was basically it. And they didn't want to give it to her, but it's like, she's like, no, I just drew all this money for it. I should be paid the same amount as a man. So that's what it came down. Right. Really, in the wrestling business, when it comes down to that, people are gonna do business.
That's
like we'll come to a common ground.
That's not like what I had a problem with. My problem is she made like she didn't even know this main event was coming up, and then said that she's staying in Mexico, and then she went to Orlando to do photo shoots in Florida. Yet you're saying that you can't leave to do any TV, and then they ask her simply, "Can you just shoot a promo video for us?" She refused to shoot promo video. She acted like she didn't know that she had a title match. And then she did the Ultimate Warrior. She held them up a couple weeks before the match. At least she didn't hold up the day of the match. You know what I mean? Minutes before the match, like the Warrior did. But still, I still call it the Warrior. She held them up, said $150K for me to show up and drop this belt. And they said, "Fuck you. No, we'll grab a new belt." But she didn't even send them the belt back.
Well,
so that's my problem with
it. Here's the thing. Warrior did that in 91. And then that was in summer. That was in August of 91. And then in April 92, he's back at WrestleMania.
I know. But I'm just saying that that was a big
I know.
And so, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that dedicated fan feels that way. And I know many fans do.
Me personally, it's not something that I've read online or it's actually factual. Just my opinion and my assumption. I honestly think Tony Khan bought Impact, and he's letting it operate as its separate own. Because if you remember when AEW launched, there was reports back in 2019 of January that AEW was going to buy Impact. I wasn't the only one. Like you've seen that, right?
Yes.
In January of 2019, it was like, AEW. They're like, no, we're not going to buy it. So that's why I think because I think John Ross sat on the last podcast he did this week. He said like AEW has like 90 wrestlers. So I think with the whole Tessa Blanchard thing, and I think the wild card, the ace in the hole is her dad works for AEW.
Yeah, I know.
And they're already teasing that 4 Horsemen thing, which I've been saying for the past 6 months. If they do the Horseman thing, I think it might be Cody, the FTR, and Tessa Blanchard.
You thought so too?
I think that's
that's what made me come up with that hunch, because it seems like they're doing this, and what better way to bring Tessa in? So we'll see. I mean, any matches that you're kind of
it's a really good card.
Like any matches that don't stand out to you, you think that it's like,
You know what? It's hard with AEW, their paper, except for All Out, that was just a weird pay-per-view in 2020. It was just what happened with the Matt Hardy thing, and then to find out that the temperature in Jacksonville was like 90 degrees and the humidity was just freaking. It felt like 98 degrees. That was just a weird pay-per-view. Outside of that, all their pay-per-views have just been solid. Yeah. I think it's hard. Honestly, for me, it's hard to pick which one's going to be the match of the night. Right. I think the one that's going to surprise a lot of people is going to be the Sting Darby Allin Team Taz match, because it's a street fight.
Yeah.
And watching this past Wednesday Dynamite and seeing Sting move, it's like, hey man, this brother's like 61, and he's like, this brother's moving like he's 40. Like he can still go.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that he looks more mobile than The Undertaker did last year.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how, I think like, man, how come WWE didn't put that match together? I mean, they could have done a really good cinematic match with Sting and Taker.
I know.
But yeah, seeing how Sting is and he's working, and I think that might be a surprise. I think we're going to see a Sting that, of course, they're not going to, go all out and everything, but I think we're going to see that frenetic energy Sting that we've come to love show out at that pay-per-view. I think he's just going to go. He's just going to go there.
Is this a cinematic match, you think?
Yeah, Tony Khan, he did say it's going to be a cinematic match.
Okay.
Which it's perfect, because it's like, okay, you don't want Sting in the ring where you could take serious bumps and things like that and everything. He's perfect. He's medically cleared to perform and everything. But you you want to protect not so much his physical, abilities, but just him as a character. Like there's again, Sting 61. He's not 31.
Right.
Sting, if this was Sting, a 31-year-old Sting, holy shit, that would be a great match. Like that dude can go. But hey, he's 61. You want to showcase more Darby than him. You want him to be that filler in between what Darby does and stuff like that. So I mean, it's going to be really cool, really cool. And I think with a lot of what AEW does with the cinematic matches that they've done, they've kept it to a decent time frame and with decent like logical things that make sense. Not hey, I'm fighting myself, in the swamp and that stuff. Oh, God. So I mean that match stands out to me. That actually, I would also say the Casino Battle Royale tag team match.
Yeah.
They announced it, I think, yesterday or something like that. So that one could be easily. I know a lot of people online have been pushing for Santana and Ortiz to get a title shot. Like they need to make them champions. Like put the straps on them. So I mean that's going to be interesting. The MJF Jericho match. That whole Inner Circle storyline is like, it's simple, but yet it's so, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Like it's so captivating because he can go in so many different areas. Like you don't know where it's going to go. You're like, man, where is this going to, like, is this going to go? Like here, and I've been saying it. I'm like, it's time for Jericho to turn face. Like we need face Jericho.
I think Sammy might cost him the title shot. He might cost him this match.
I wouldn't be surprised about that. But then again, man, that's the beautiful thing about AEW. That can happen, but then also the Good Brothers can cost the Young Bucks the match. And they've been teasing it for the past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you could have the Inner Circle interfere. They win, which sets up, was it the Good Brothers and the Young Bucks at Sacrifice for the Impact titles? Is that interesting? It's an interesting dynamic, man. But
it is. I think it's a fun card, man, and we can't wait for it. Dedrian, that's all the time I got. I appreciate you being on Pro Wrestling Enforcer podcast, and please plug where we can find you. Plug all the podcasts you're doing right now.
Thank you. Yes, you can find me at Instagram and Twitter at Dedrian180. That's DEDRAN 180. You can also follow the podcast that I'm on, Wrestling Talk. That's RASSLING Talk on Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and everything. We do a show every Saturday, and our tagline is the show, topic, and dates are subject to change. So we do shows on Saturday, but we can change it. So yeah, you can find me on there and everything. Yeah, man, I'm just having fun with this wrestling, man. This is fun.
All right, me too, man. So check out Dedrian Colon, Pro Wrestling Forza podcast. We are out, guys. I appreciate it.